What was yours?
I've just been saying whatever I want.
Oh, wow.
Don't bite. Enjoy it. Are you still here? Can you tell me what the name of Captain Jack's boat was? Are you John Calhoun?
What is the color of your hair? What is the name of Captain Calico's ship?
Documents directed. Yep.
Can you imagine? But you guys got internet.
How's that?
It is Megan's birthday today. Not today. In 2 days.
Take the time getting back to me.
So whenever you...
You got anything?
Do you have a happy birthday?
her where her treasury is.
Oh,
You can't ask the woman that.
She did say to me money.
money.
And that it's basically gone.
Oh,
She said it's
that's
basically gone.
pretty
And
good
then she said
intel.
sunk.
Can you tell her that it's Meg's birthday on the 6th?
It's Meg's birthday on the 6th, and also I told her I'm good for it, and I would give some of it to gay people.
Oh, oh yeah.
Since that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Okay, so help us out with the location of the money.
She said it's almost gone.
Money, money, me, need money. Give me money to help you.
We would actually.
You lack money.
Yeah, we do.
We
And we
lack
would
money.
actually appreciate it on account of needing to build a home.
Correct, and Meg needs a good birthday gift, and we spent all our money on ravioli.
So much money on ravioli.
So we lack it significantly. If we could have more of it, that'd be great. And we'd also do the litigation.
Probably.
That's what she was going to do.
Don't stay true to yourself. I don't know that we're
You're
going to
blowing
donate any money.
I will.
Well, it depends on how much it is. You know?
I'm not saying offensive things. The ghost was maybe
It's not offensive.
lesbian, so I offered to give some of her hidden treasure to lesbian people.
But it depends on how much it is. I would say.
50-50 split.
He's got some money stuff going on.
Money stuff? Well, I asked about treasure, if that's out there.
As one does.
She did say money to me, but she also said gone, thief, rat. So we might have got lost.
I think it's definitely a pirate style term.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's obvious.
Bank.
Do you have any other things that might spell something?
Now she's giving me bank, which is another money
You
related.
put it in the bank. Okay. That's a smart lady.
PR.
NTR. Yeah. Nothing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. NT. So there's another Nick relative to this space. It's the Nicholas Trott house. It's literally on the other side of the Powder magazine. He was the first Chief Justice of the United States. That was his cottage over there.
Okay.
His name is Nicholas Trott. NT. Again, it's a vague stretch because I don't know much about this device yet. But again, we're in the space. Do you have any other letters that are Nick or Nicholas? Or the word truck? With an NI. I would be more convinced if it was like NTH somewhere. No. Yeah, I like money terms. Anything coming up out of yours?
I had 14, but that's it.
And then it was X, and then D,
Another
I,
pink
T
one.
out of order.
Ooh.
So X and then D.
I had
Oh, wow.
403.
How many what? So many gold coins? Oh, 70 pieces.
What do you got?
70 and then dig?
You have 70?
Yeah, 70.
Another Pinckney term. I think I need to explain. Everything's like all out of whack. Let's head over to that wall. Like, that's crazy to me. We're 14 and 70.
Do you want any water?
Alright.
I just got 70
70
as well.
as well. Got it. You guys can actually have a seat, and if you want to drop your devices on top of the bag, you can. Just keep your earbuds, dude.
Yeah.
I don't want those wrapped. Unless it's St. Augustine's Lighthouse, because I was invited to go there. Like, that was one of my last investigations last year, was from the St. Augustine's Lighthouse. I was there with 2 other podcasts. They asked me to come down because we all promote each other, and they know I have the gear and they don't. So they brought me down to show people how to use the gear on an actual investigation in the lighthouse. So it was fun.
Nice.
It was more of a PR piece for me. And of course, I get to write everything off. All the new stuff, it's all write-offs. So, but he was asking me if I ever go to any other places other than where we're at tonight.
Nice.
That was his question. Not that you guys won't hear a whole conversation on your audio, but again, just giving everybody the fill in. So, where the heck are we? Oh, I guess first off, are we getting anything on yours? Still, absolutely nothing. What do you got on yours?
It says take. It said take for a long time.
Take. The
I had threat and philanthropist.
philanthropist. That's a little
It's very
specific.
specific.
Yeah.
Threat of philanthropy.
Yep. Not at the same time. It was 2 different times.
Just so you all know, Calhoun is probably about 25 yards that way. So, I mean, literally, like, directly behind us, which is part of the reason why I came directly behind this line of trees, because I know he's exactly on the other side. So I'll be curious to see if something pops up on the other side with our data tonight. We're at the Powder Magazine. That's the little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. I'm sure you guys already heard about earthquake bolts, but I'm kind of give you the skinny about why those specific earthquake bolts, I bring those up, is because that's the first set that we ever put in, because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because this building is familiar to the time frame when Anne Bonny actually came to Charleston to start her new life. So her life actually started over here in the middle of this building's construction, to be exact. This building took 10 years to build. So 1703 to 1713, does that sound like our government small building? 10 years? Not at all. But at any rate, Anne's story begins in 1708. Try to follow me. I know you guys are tired, but there's a lot of weird twists in this. I'll slow down on the twists. 1708, Anne Cormac moves here from Ireland. She's here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you guys with me so far? Yeah, you already got that scowl on your face. The 3 of them are running away from his wife. You guys with me? Basically, angry wife. 3 of them ran away to here. So they buy a plantation. They land in Georgetown, first off. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation, but Mom died pretty quickly after arriving here. So that means he has to send young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation, because they have to keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. So we don't have any buildings this old, by the way. But Anne back home in Ireland, kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was only 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. So again, just want to kind of give you her mentality as we tell you the rest of her story. Fast forward, building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne is stoked because Anne wants her freedom, just like a man. She's going to fall in love. Guy number 1. Yes, I'm going to keep tally. There's a handful. James Bonny. You already see where this one's going because we already know her married name at this point. But Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. James Bonnie is not the Captain Jack Sparrow she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer. He's a spy for the British, a coward. This is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2, John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. This is the real person that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of, just so everybody knows. The Calico Jack has his own ship and wants to be part of it, but you can't put a girl on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why?
Probably rapes.
What's that?
Probably rapes.
Bad luck. Bad
Oh,
luck.
that's
Bad
right,
luck.
Same.
Same, right? But
Good.
yeah. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you could be part of the pirate crew, but you're going to be a female in like quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife, just as a secret. So kind of keep that in mind. She's good with this. Let's put 2 and 2 together. The rapes, right? So being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a female, and then they're going to vote Calico Jack off the ship. So Jack drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby. These are friends of mine. They'll help you out. Come back later. We'll figure it out from there. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. But she's also dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. And while she was away giving birth to his baby, he captured another pirate crew and they're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting with that crew to make Jack even more mad because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed as males to be pirates. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Now her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for certain. But the British find out where they are and they send out a fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Now, Anne and Mary are the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. But they're obviously trying to take on a whole fleet of ships. It's not going to work out. They're going to get arrested. And as they're being arrested, she looks at her beau, her captain, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog does show up here often on your spirit boxes. The judge, his name is Nick as well, so it'll be Nick cubed, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's funny, and later on I'll tell you, I had like 5 friends named Nick growing up in high school. All 5 of us hung out together. It was weird. But anyway, said I told him later, but I just told him. So, you're still laughing. Good. So, where was I? The judge, he wants to see the 2 men. He wants by themselves. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight, so they're gone. The 2 ladies go in front. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. He doesn't care that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they said, claiming to be pregnant, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He delays the hanging. Back to jail they go. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, we're going to count Mary Reed, has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt because we don't know much after her pirate career. Mary Reed, she dies a year later, 1721, in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Most articles will tell you that it was just fever, but I'm sure it was very scurvous and gross. I'm sure you can put your imaginations to work. Now, I only left out 2 things as far as spirit box work goes in this location because you guys pretty much know what you're doing by now. And again, this took a lot of research to try to put factual data with pirate lore. So again, those 2 things are contradictory, correct? So the name of Anne Bonny's parents we can prove for certain. That's the father and the mistress. The other thing is Calico Jack's ship. That's the other thing that I like to have you guys ask about. Everything else is fair game. Ask whatever the hell you want to ask. I definitely want to get yours going on on the letters if you're not already there. Maybe turn up the sensitivity on that left knob just a little bit, just a hair. And as far as yours, Nick, you're not going to get a whole lot of numbers here. If you do, it's going to be from the electrical poles or the parking meters on the other side. Don't get excited from a 3 to 7. You're going to be using the motion sensor in here, asking Anne Bonny what her hair color is. Reason being is because it's red, and it's very hard to get a red reading because that means they have to touch the antenna. So again, it's a difficult read, but the only time I've ever gotten a red has been in this location.
Nice.
So take that for granted. Any words showing up on your word list before?
I got Adeline, Irish name, Larry, blood-sucking, and cleaned.
Oh, that's my dad.
Blood sucking. Very interesting.
Yeah, it can't be good.
Before I have you guys separate, those of you that want to film or get footage of the front of the powder magazine, the only thing I ask is you stay out of the way of the other tours. Let them do their thing and get out of the way. Go up there and get a few minutes of footage, but mainly most of us are going to be hanging out on this side next to the powder magazine. But I am going to steal you guys for just 1 more minute and tell you why, another reason why I give that heated warning at the beginning of our time together. back in September of last year, I brought my group back here. It's about 9 or 10 people, and the kid next to me literally goes white as a ghost. Like, I mean, he looks like he's going to hit his head on the ground. I pick him up by his armpit, like, because he's dropping. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side. We take him over to that wall. There's a little ledge. He's sitting down, bottle of water, feeling better. I then tell the story that I just told you. It's important to know they don't know the Aunt Bonnie story yet. After I separate everybody with their devices, like I just told you guys, to go have fun with this, they pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary in the story, on the tour. And they needed to let me know because it then made sense to them as to why one of them felt faint the minute we walked in here. It wasn't hot, it wasn't humid, they weren't overdressed, underdressed, just literally, when I say white as a ghost, white as a ghost. This is the kind of weird shit that I see all the time. So again, that's part of the reason why I give that heated warning. I would tell you that most psychics and mediums don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site because we've gotten readings over there at over 200 milligauss, which is the highest I've ever seen. So again, those are pretty dangerous levels. Somebody just pulled up in that truck, which is why I'm kind of like giving you that extra heated warning story. I don't always give this story, but you guys seem like you're a group that can handle it. When there's little ones on the tour, I don't tell them because they freak out. Like, I'm going to get sick right here. I'm like, oh, have fun. I am going to head up towards that wall and kind of see where you guys are at, because you guys know what you're doing here by now. In the first couple of minutes, you guys are going to know right away if it's a hit or if it's a miss. So, again, it's a 50-50 shot when we're here just because the building's familiar. So, let's have some fun with the last spot. Again, if you want to get footage of the front, just stay out of the way of the other tours. So, all right, let's do this. Part of it. Remind me what the road.
Ask me a question.
I have to wait till I get up. What color is your hair? What color? What color is your hair?
Because people are going to be walking in and out of there. It's other tours. So, again, they did not pay to get filmed. We did. That's kind of how this works. So, we all tell the same story over here. Of course, I tell it differently because you're ghost hunting. A little bit of a different detail. So, because you guys are like starting to go like down on the downhill from your long day, I'll kind of, you only got 2 spots left. So, just so you guys know where you're at. And no more like long treks of like 3 to 5 blocks. Where did you guys park? I mean,
We Ubered.
So we Ubered.
We're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
just want to make sure. I always like to try to get you guys directions back to where we were because we're not ending back at Big John's. This is Philadelphia Alley. It used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So, here's how the story goes. Doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney helping her out with all of his cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston to prove that he's not after Amanda's money, and as he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start to his day in Charleston. Somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. RI shows up here quite a bit, and I was hoping with the device that you're using, Megan, we were going to start seeing it even more often. But RI is going to 2 different characters, secondary verifier. You guys get it? So, wow. He wants to go home.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. He's been out all day, I'm sure. So anyway, him and Ralph, well, Ralph tells the doctor, you don't want to stay here, dude. He's got a gunman inside, he's going to try to kill you, and, you know, I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, and you'll be safe. The doctor takes him up on the offer, he's all good to go, they become friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making, so he's proving that he's not after Amanda's money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because Amanda's moving down soon. Now, every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost, just so you guys know. So again, it is a very common thing, but there's actually proof of this one based off by previous tours when I used to go down this alley. Back to the doctor. him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats, so they have to talk about the plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. As they're arguing, Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets pretty ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph, being from here, has friends at the newspaper, and he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. It's kind of a jerk move, like he's a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees this ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel, by the way. Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor didn't die. His friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You gotta remember, he's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed this bullet out himself. So the ghost story part of this is that you can hear the whistles from the doctor as you're walking down the alley. I used to take my groups down there, and we would use the voice recorders. It was before we were using the earbuds with the spirit boxes. So again, it was about like, let's turn those down and use the voice recorder. Well, again, we had some whistles, but if you're going to do that on your own and use your own voice recorders from your phones, keep in mind every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street from the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night on my way done with you guys, because we're going to end there. My garage is right there. So again, I throw a whistle every single night, especially since there's other tours down there. So once these people pass, I'll tell you exactly how I got booted out of here. So again, it gets a little interesting about this portion, because I never know what's going to happen. Let's see. Any letters coming out of yours? All right. This alley didn't come all the way through, which means the bricks on the other side are older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. I'm sure you guys picked up that I'm all about the history, and I would always show them off to my groups, because those bricks, there's a full handprint in one of them, and fingerprint swipes in some others. And again, it was a matter of a history piece, not a paranormal piece. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 decided to huddle around that brick and try to get a reading from it, because everybody wants to try. It's outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. It's not very happy with me, because we weren't supposed to be there. We were out of bounds, yet I was the new guy on the block, not knowing the full route, and I got in trouble. So the next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour that day, so I got a phone call on the 28th. The tourism office called me and asked me to reroute or go down halfway like everybody else. It was not fair for my group of 10 to try to investigate a half of a space with 20 to 60 other people of the other tours. So we're going to reroute. I told my team that night what was going on, and that I did not even believe in the story I was about to tell them, because I'm a vampire guy, not a pirates guy. We are going to be discussing pirates. What I did not tell them is who we are going to be investigating for. So somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box before we leave here. I did not tell them we were going to be investigating Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. So I'm like, all right, maybe there's something. We get up there, I told the little bit I did know about pirates, and then somebody else hears the number 300. So I'm like, all right, I got nothing on that. I researched it the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was on November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So, I keep taking you guys back up there in hopes that we're going to continue to capture more evidence. It is a hit or miss location. Weird thing is you're going to learn a whole crap ton about pirates, because I've read more damn books about pirates since that night and than I ever thought I ever wanted to. So, worst case scenario is you learn a shit ton about pirates, and we're going to see what's actually going to go on. And again, it is a hit or miss location, but it is the same place where John Calhoun is buried right next to it. So again, I'll be very interested to see how this is actually going to go. You weren't listening. I didn't even see an earbud in. Any words show up for you?
No, when you're talking about the slave handprint, Master did come up on here. That's it. Carol, the name Carol.
I don't know who Carol is. Yeah, you guys are giving me weird names tonight, like Ariana, Carol. Like, who the hell are these people? They quit popping into my tours.
That's big.
I saw.
Yeah, good job. circle back there?
No idea. Well, it's TJ, because nobody heard it.
Not that sure.
Podcast going on over there.
Oh, that's true. That was like a demo. Double XL.
So again, that is normally a hotbed for me. But one of my biggest hotbeds, one of the biggest investigations I did was the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where the 9/11 plane crashed. All I want to know is where the raised emotion is, or if death occurred there. I don't want to know anything else. So my wife is from the Pittsburgh area. Obviously, it's relatively close. So I knew the plane crashed there, so I went there to pay my respects, just like everybody else. I just had a bunch of gear running on me. I go through the data later, write down everything I have. Then I did the research. I do things the exact opposite of the way we're doing them out here. I give you the history first, then you go investigate. I still withhold information, but when I do my investigations, I go during the day. Ghosts don't give a shit if it's day or night. They're still out and about, haunting those spaces. But it's a matter of the raised emotion. And that's what I'm guessing is going on with the Lodge Alley situation, where the bricks are, because there must have been something going on there. I just can't figure out where it is because it's not documented. So again, it's a matter of that was a big one for me. Of course, I went to Gettysburg because everybody talks about Gettysburg. I honestly don't have much, I'll be honest. From really? Gettysburg, yeah. I had a lot of gear on me that day, and I didn't get a whole lot, which I was super surprised. I got more out of the Flight 93 Memorial. I like to go to other memorial places that are not just museums or things like that. Like Francis Marion is buried somewhere near here. He's probably about 3.5 hours away from where we're standing. So I went out there because it's in the middle of the woods. It's a weird spot. That's a really weird spot, and it's private. So I can ask questions, and it's in a weird space, but it's open to the public. But you have to go through a little piece of backwoods to get to it. It's the weirdest thing. But I was like, oh, that's a great spot to go. So, but yeah, I go to places all the time, and I don't like the shit you guys see on TV. Way down the alley, one way or the other. Alexis, we're going to have you mute yours and Spirit Box just because we're next to a hotel. Did we hear any names or hear anything along the way?
Alex, Candy, Chester, Water, and Grace.
Another guy going, ooh, making go.
You guys want what?
There was like an operatic.
Oh, yeah, I heard
singer
that
going
part.
like, ooh.
It sounded spooky.
Opera?
It sounds spooky and kind
It sounded very spooky.
And then
Iris,
Alright,
heard the
Give me
I
those
got
again.
Ariana.
Alex, Candy, Chester, and I heard last one was Water and Grace. Yeah.
Any letters show up on yours, Megan?
No, it's the same stuff.
Same stuff.
Yeah.
What do you got on yours? I'm not going to write it down because it's
I got Ariana,
Okay.
got Monkey Worker, and I got Dare.
Monkey worker?
Yeah.
All in one phrase?
Well, two back to back.
Oh, monkey and worker.
Yeah.
Not monkey worker on one screen. I'm
No.
like, that'd be a new one on me. You're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, take that out of the dictionary.
Return that device.
I know, right? Alex is relevant here, but it's usually not one of the names that I would expect in the time loop that we're in right now. So let me explain. So where are we? When we crossed that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown walls used to be. You guys probably heard that on your first parish tour. This is one of the first streets we ever had. What's cool about this place is I have a full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. It's not a lengthy list, but I get the same two names every 6 to 7 weeks, and right now we're in week 7 or week 6 of that loop. So again, with the names that I normally get, it's normally Benjamin and John as we're walking down here or walking into the alley. Now it doesn't sound like, oh, those are weird names, but when I say people live down here, only like 2 to 5 people live down here at a time. So Benjamin and John both lived down here in 1801. I get their same two names every 6 to 7 weeks. John likes to give us his last name because there were 4 different Johns that lived down here. His last name was Johnson. John Johnson. What's funny is there was an Alex that lived down here, and I want to say his name was Alexander. So again, moms were cruel back then. I have no other explanation for that. But I don't have anything cool about Benjamin and John other than I keep getting their names over and over again. Here's why this is happening. You're standing on Belgian blocks. These things have been here since 1739 that we know of. They're basically made out of granite. Granite is not supposed to have an electrical charge to it whatsoever. So, Nick, I'm going to have you put your device literally on any brick you want to. Just set it on the ground and let's see if we can get any kind of charge out of it. I would expect up to like a 1.1, maybe a little bit higher, just because that would be from the ground. But lately we've been getting it all the way from 9 to 15 milligauss. So again, kind of a crazy thing if you know anything about rocks. What do you have right now?
2.8.
2.8. So it's slight. Last night I want to say we had up to a 4 or 5. No, it was last night was a 7.1. That's what it was. But I've seen it go all the way to 15.7, and we're not supposed to have anything. So even when you break these rocks apart, you know they're supposed to give off an electrical charge, like a quartz or something. But granite doesn't do that. You can go ahead and pick it up because we're probably not going to get anything much higher than that. I've seen it go to 3.2. So it's the highest that we actually had out of that. Not super impressive, but at the same time, we're not supposed to have that kind of reading. Before people lived here, the Freemasons actually had a Masonic lodge here. And it's where it gets its name from, Lodge Alley. So we will get things relative to the Freemasons as well. So we'll get words like Freemason, Mason, Brick. The word Illuminati loves to show up on your spirit box. Now the question there is that, first off, those are radio stations. Who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? Because that's where we're getting it from every single time. We only get it while we're in this space. So that's another piece of like, why are we only hearing it while we're here? The word symbols will also show up a lot on your spirit box, so we've gotten that quite a bit. But again, this is definitely a weird spot. It gets really humid here in the summer, so I'm not going to keep us here much longer. But we are going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to our next location. The next location is another alley, but I can't take you all the way through it like what we're doing here. The reason why is because I've been kicked out of it. So again, this is one of those spaces where I told you, like, I don't go all the way through it, but it is such a great story, I still get enough evidence from it every single night where it's going to bleed over into our last stop after that. But when we get up to that location, I will kind of position the 2 cameras to get some footage of it. But when we exit this alley, the 2 of you will cut off your cameras because we don't record people's houses. We're going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to that space. Again, I don't like to spend a ton of time here. I'm just basically waiting to see if something's going to show up on the recording here, and I'm going to spot check it in this spot. So
I did have Elizabeth come up when we were messing with the rocks. Yeah.
Very common for the 1800s. So we'll kind of see if her name. I don't recall her name being on there, but that where did that show up at?
Right here.
Oh, at this location.
Yeah, when he was doing the rock thing.
Okay. I was going to say because Eliza's full name would be Elizabeth. So again, that's the way her tombstone reads. It says Eliza, quote unquote, Elizabeth Lucas Pinckney. So again, her full name was Elizabeth. But again, I'll look to see if that name is on the word list or the name list for here. But again, as we exit, we'll kind of see, what goes on with the recording. This is where I kind of focus definitely in this time loop just to see what's going on here. But the stone tape theory basically states that these bricks are hanging on to the consciousness of the things that have occurred here. So again, this is a study that I did over the past couple of months just to kind of see like why am I getting the same names over and over and over again, dealing with the stone tape theory here, which hasn't been fully proven yet, but neither has anything else paranormal. So kind of take that for granted. But any other crazy readings coming out of your device before we move on?
So far, 0.0.
Okay, so we're good on that front. All right, let's head up to the next alley and get into this humidity. Your faces are all glistening right now.
Check for the water, Christian.
Uh-oh.
Now you're recording again.
Okay.
You've been super quiet since you got here.